So hi, and thanks for watching. In this video, I'm going to do a quick monthly recap of my trading portfolio. So my name is Tyler Stokes from StokesTrades.com. I'm on a journey to become a full-time trader, and I started trading real money in April 2025, and I've been doing these monthly portfolio updates. We're on month 4 right now, and our portfolio is up 65%. So below this video, you can find a link to our Skool Group here. In the Skool Group, I have been documenting all of the trades that I made in a trading challenge in our classroom. And here you can find some of the information regarding the setups, why I made some of the buys and the sells, and every trade that I've made, I have documented here in the Skool Group. So you can come to the Skool Group, you can join it for free. I actually just made a post today about patience that I want to cover quickly in this portfolio update, because that's one of the main things that I've learned with this strategy is that patience is really, really key. So later on, I want to jump to that. But here, what I thought we would do is just look at the numbers quickly. We'll talk about that quote. And then I want to just go over a few mistakes that I've made, go over how this strategy works for most of the stocks that I've bought, and then talk about some other stocks that I'm currently interested in. So as always, this is not financial advice. And one of the mentors that I have been following who's helped with this overall strategy is the Great Mattsby. And you can find a link to his profile here on X below this video. So let's jump in. We started trading in April. Our portfolio just got up near the end of the month. We made some allocations. Obviously in April, everything was down, so it was a great time to be in the market. But hindsight's always 2020. Everyone would like to buy various stocks in the lows of April, but it's not always easy to do when you are in a downtrend. But that's usually when there are some great opportunities. There certainly were. Many stocks have doubled, as I've mentioned before. But April, we were at about 3.5%. Near the end of April, we got a lot of our fund allocated in stocks. So we were up 20% in May, June up 40%, and now we're up 65% at the end of July. Now, end of July, certainly the first day of August there on, I think, Friday, August 1st, we had a sell-off in the market. So we will see how we end up at the end of August. Sometimes August seems to be a weak month in the stock market. So we'll see next week if there's if there's more of a sell-off, or if we kind of rally and change things up this year and maybe have a strong August. So we will see. But there's certainly a chance that the portfolio is not at 65% at the end of August. We'll have to see how things go. But the breakdown here, I was fully allocated, so I had a 0% cash position at the end of July. And if you'd like to actually look at all these trades, you can certainly come here through the link below. You can find this page. You can find detail on the trading challenge here, more of the previous updates. But I've listed all my buys and sells. And if you kind of look at the strategy that I'm using, which I am actually discussing more. If you come to our group on Skool, you can find more information about the strategy that I'm using. There's going to be a course available here for the members of this Skool Group at the time of recording this. So I'm going to actually talk through all of the strategy, the way I've bought and sold some of these stocks. But if you kind of just look at the stocks and the trades I've made, many positions I'm still holding, but some of the ones that I did sell, I've got only, a 1% loss there. That was just an error where I had a limit order and the market gapped down and I was forced to sell. This one I just sort of wanted to get rid of. It was a stock that was bottoming and I just kind of wanted to move my funds somewhere else. This was generally not a great trade, but I've actually rebought half of this at a lower level. So that's not that big of a deal. But if you look at my portfolio gains, I've got 2 stocks out of about over 20 that are currently down. So Duolingo, which I'm going to talk about, that position's down 15%. And that's a 4% position, so a bit of a larger one there. And then I have just a 1% position in Enphase, and that was a stock that looked to have bottomed and it just didn't bottom. It kept going down. So we've got a loss there. But everything else, we've got an 80% gain, 88% gain, 100% gain in iron there. I've got a 7% position there. Then coin, 10%, it's up 90%, almost 100%. So most of my positions, my win rate's like 90%, and obviously, I'm holding on to a lot of these stocks. I haven't been trading in and out too much, but the strategies really work to find stocks in good positions to accumulate, and then reap the volatility and just hold on through the volatility and just get some of these gains. So again, the market is down in the beginning of August. Many of these positions are down, but it could be a healthy pullback, which we're going to look at one chart and just kind of see how things melt up, but they don't always go up in the straight line. There's certainly a zigzag pattern, but yes, 65%. So I closed out all my positions in Trader Sync account and I earned a 65%. And currently, Tesla's fallen a little bit in the past few months. It started at 223 and it was 308 at the end of July. So a 37% gain. So we are right now on pace beating Tesla in this challenge. We'll see how Tesla does throughout the end of the year, but that's sort of been the little challenge on the side, is to see if a portfolio of 20 stocks trading can beat, going all in on Tesla for just this year. So will be interesting to see how Tesla does and the rest of the portfolio does. So I thought we would just look at some of the stocks and talk a little bit about the strategy. We'll talk a little bit about Coin here. So Coin is up 96%. It's actually fallen. We'll talk about the back test and the retrace that could be happening. And then I want to talk about Duolingo, which is a position that I'm down on. And then we'll talk about Iron as well. So the post that I made in our trading group just recently was the importance of patience. And I was thinking about this, and I think it's really important with this particular strategy that I'm focused on. It's a momentum trading strategy where we focus on buying support levels through the back test of certain breakouts. So we've got various rules, and it just allows us not to get trapped. We never buy high, we never buy resistance. But there is a level of patience that goes on, because although you might get some quick gains, which I have, we've got a pullback here in August, and things don't happen all the time. So I had this quick thought about this the other day, and I was thinking, and I was reminded that markets really move in zigzags. So nothing goes up in a straight line. Many stocks retrace after big breakouts, which is healthy and bullish. And it's what this strategy focuses on. If things never pull back and they just melt up, then there is a higher probability that it can come crashing down to a more sustainable level. So sometimes stocks go up and they get away from all these indicators, and they really need to consolidate or retrace back to catch up to some moving averages or some other indicators. So it's healthy for things to go up and pull back a bit. And any stock you look at, it zigzags up and to the right. It never goes up in a straight line. So patience is really crucial, particularly with the strategy that I'm using. Occasionally, you're going to get these big jumps, 5 to 15% in a day. And I've had that with some of the stocks that I've chosen to invest in, but they don't happen every week. So it can be unrealistic to expect. But what happens is that expectation that things are going to go up week after week, it leads to chasing, hoping that every stock will perform the same. But again, in reality, markets consolidate. The breakouts take time to develop. So without a lot of patience, if you do not have patience with this strategy, you risk selling too early, and I've done that. You risk rotating into other stocks prematurely. I've done that. You miss opportunities. You tend to overtrade. All mistakes that I've currently made. And I'll talk about a few of them here. I continue to make those mistakes, but I'm more aware of them. I'm more aware that they're going on, and it's really helped me documenting everything to really understand what I've been doing. So staying disciplined and understand that patience is really important. So in terms of looking at a few stocks, let's just look at Coin and talk about how things don't always go up in a straight line. So here we're on a weekly chart. So each candlestick represents 1 week, and the only indicator we have on here is just the fib level. So we're going to look at the log scale chart here and the linear scale chart for some confluence on some of these zones that were good support zones to buy in, and maybe resistance zones to certainly not buy in, and never buy at a resistance zone. Sell if you want to trade in and out. Personally, I haven't been trading in and out too much. With this strategy, it just takes more time, more effort, more analysis, and it tends to lead to more mistakes. So I've chosen to buy at support and accumulate rather than trade in and out too much. But here we can see that, at the low here in April 2025, we've got a big weekly candle of 15%, followed by a pullback here of just a little bit, and then another weekly candle of 20%. So personally, I bought a little bit in the 170s, and I reallocated. I got fully 10% in at around 191. So I bought this back test. So with this strategy that I've been using, you never want to buy the breakout. So here we've got a 20% weak. You don't want to buy here, but when things back test support zones, and again, we just have one indicator on here, you want to use more for confluence. But you can see here, this week back tested this 702 fib. This week back tested the 702 fib. This was a good support zone, a potential buy area. Then the next week we have a 33% weak. So obviously you don't want to buy in this breakout. You don't want to chase, you don't want to buy, but as things retrace and hit this 786 and start closing many weeks above this area, this is another indication that this is a good support zone, a very important fib level as well. The 245, and I made a video about how this was a good buy zone. So we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 weeks or so of building a good base on this zone. This is a good buy zone. And then boom, we're followed by another 25% week. So we don't buy here, we accumulate some shares here, we accumulate here. And when would we want to accumulate again? Well, we've melted up for 4 weeks in a row to a resistance zone. So 429 is the all-time high for this stock. So this is a zone where you really want to be cautious. You never want to buy here, but if you don't know technical analysis, you're a retail trader and you see coins ran up to over $400, many retail traders are going to buy here. And this is not the area to buy. This is resistance. And what happens? We've got, a down week of about 7% here. And then we've got earnings that come out and they send the stock all the way back down. So where are we now? Well, we're potentially at a good support zone here. We are right around the 886 fib level. And usually when stocks can break out of the 786 and can break and build a support base here on the 886, they tend to go and break all-time high and make further gains. So right now, we'll have to see next week how coin does, whether it can stay around the 318 level. And there, if we jump on the linear scale, we also have some more confluence based on this scale that, this area was resistance. And now we have a big bullish, bearish candle, and we've actually touched down and back tested. And if we zoom in here, we can see that this week back tested the 702 perfectly. It wicked down just below. So we've got 310.94 and the low here was 310.55. So potentially, we've got a big, 20% bearish candle here. We might be in a good support zone right now where we are. Back tested the 702 and back tested the 886 on log scale. So this potentially, if you weren't in the stock, obviously this is not financial advice, but you would never want to buy resistance. This is resistance. There's a chance that it gets rejected here. There's a lot of selling pressure up here in the around the 430 zone. It went up to 444 resistance zone. You don't want to sell that, but now it's retraced, breakout, back test. This could be a good entry zone to start your accumulation. Now, certainly it might go a little lower. We'll have to see how the next week plays out, but this is an area where you want to buy as opposed to up here. Now, one other thing to note with coin and any other stock that sort of melts up so quickly, so fast, is that pullbacks like this are normal and sometimes they're seen as very bullish. When things break out and can pull back to a support zone, they can sort of continue their journey higher. And if we just look at, it may be even where I got in at around 190, 191, we're looking at to the top here, it's, 120% gain. So even at the bottom where we've got a trend change here, the stock sort of has, from the low here, it's melted up, 200%. So it's common for things to pull back and it's normal too. Sometimes if we add on other indicators here, like the Ichimoku cloud, we can see that, we're getting pretty extended away from these indicators. And sometimes things need to pull back, retest some of these zones, maybe consolidate here for a while until they continue on higher. So certainly something you should expect. Stocks don't go up in a straight line. They tend to retrace. And sometimes, these feel really bad, but, we've have, since the low here back in April 25, from April to, what are we talking? The beginning of April, May, June, 4 months, we've gone up almost 200%. So it's natural for a pullback to happen, something to always keep in mind. Another stock that is doing well in our portfolio, we've got Ethereum. So I've got a ETH, which is a 2x leverage of Ethereum, a cost basis of 60. That's gone up quite a bit, and just the standard ETF. So these are ETFs. So I don't own the cryptocurrency Ethereum, but ETFs that sort of mirror the Ethereum, how it's trading, and that's done well as well. And same thing with Ethereum. What might be happening? We've got a big rise from the bottom here, and it's doing a nice back test of the 786. So this week we've got a pullback of 12%, which sort of looks scary, but we've got a huge melt up, a healthy back test of a fib level. That could be good enough for it to stabilize here and then continue its journey higher. Now, the other stock that I want to talk about, two more, and then we'll wrap this up, is Duolingo. So I made a video when Duolingo was in this range, this $500 range. I saw a post on X saying that Duolingo is sort of, the next best thing in terms of AI and a language company, and sort of made a comparison to Amazon back in the day. And, many people buy this all-time high, but right away, when you look at this chart and just with the fibs, you can kind of see that, it's not a good time to buy. This isn't a support zone, and it's probably going to retrace. So this stock did retrace a bit, but I made a mistake in just allocating a little too much too early. I should have been more patient and waited. I think I allocated some into this fib level here, but sometimes stocks can retrace lower, so they don't always stop at the first support zone, and you should expect to be able to dollar cost average down. So I think I was in about 4% with a cost basis of around $400, 409, and it's retraced further down. So I certainly went a little too heavy, too quick with some of these first support zones. That's a lesson to, take it slower, maybe wait for things to consolidate and just expect them to potentially go lower. That being said, if you always think it's going to go lower, then you'll never buy. So allocating 4%, with our rules, I still got 6%, and you can see that it's retraced back to this particular fib level, the 1.414, and this could be the area where it's going to consolidate until it goes up higher. So the stock is still making higher highs and higher lows, good market structure. This is just a new, potentially a lower low. So if I did have more funds, I might want to allocate some here in this support zone. And again, there are other indicators. The Ichimoku cloud, we put that on. So I made an entry on this fib and right around the baseline, but it did not hold. It wanted to retest lower. So maybe this fib level could be the area where it finally stops. So I might want to allocate more. I've still got 6% that I can allocate to this fund or this stock if I wanted to. So that's just a mistake that I made, potentially going too heavy too soon in the first support areas. That being said, if you're always going to wait for the bottom, you're never going to invest in anything. Now, one other point to make is that some of these stocks, which is not that crucial of a point, because bullish stocks can continue to be bullish, but this stock certainly made a big gain from the 886. So on this particular stock with the fib level, this 886, when things break through the 886, they tend to go on and make all-time highs, and you can see that it's run up, from the 170 zone all the way to the high 500. So not to say this won't continue on, but there might be some better stocks available to invest in. So I think I would rather put my funds into a stock like Iron, where it's just approaching the 886, and if it could over the coming weeks or months turn this into a support zone, then it has potential to go up to these higher fib levels, which you might get more gains over the coming months when this is turned into a support zone, reaching the $28 zone or the $60, $70 zone from where it is now, as opposed to a stock like Duolingo, which may not rise as steeply or as exponentially as a stock that's just breaking the 886. So this 886 tends to be a good fib level that when things break it and turn it into support. So in the coming weeks, if we can flip this $20 zone into support and build a good base, then it could be a good sign that it's going to continue to go higher. And just quickly with this, Iron is a Bitcoin mining company. I invested in a few of these, and I did so down here at this support level. But you can see that one area of this strategy is that there's certainly a trend change here when for many weeks you're below this blue conversion line, and you've got a bullish engulfing candle that breaks through it. So this is a good indication that there is a trend change, and certainly, from here in the $7 range, we've melted all the way up to $20. So many Bitcoin miners had this same pattern, and I was able to, buy when the trend change was obvious with some of these indicators, and just buy at support and just ride it out. And any breakout back tests could be good buys and good entries. You can sort of dollar cost average on the way up. So those are some mistakes I may have made with Duolingo and some other good stocks that have been doing well for me. So it'll be interesting to see at the end of August where the fund is. August tends to be a slower month, a seasonality type of month where the stock market generally doesn't do very well. However, this year could be different. There's some good viewpoints out there that we may have already got the pullback back in April, and there's enough sort of liquidity in the market to kind of keep things going. And who knows, maybe August is going to be a good month. And this pullback that we had at the beginning of the month, maybe it lasts a few more days, but who knows, the next coming weeks, maybe things pull back. We'll have to wait and see. But I look forward to giving an update at the end of August. And again, if you'd like to come and join our group on Skool, many beginner traders are coming, staying accountable, sharing their progress. And in the classroom section here, we've got a lot of free courses here, and we are working on one that is going to be particular, discussing the strategy that I have been using in this trading challenge. And again, we're up 65%, so it will be interesting to see where we finish at the end of the year. So thanks so much for listening and watching, and we'll talk to you in the next video.